cut yourself shaving, sir?
No, Radar. I thought I'd wear 3 pieces of toilet paper tonight. Maybe start a new trend.
3? Give me that!
But I'm really more interested in your life after Boston.
Mr. Williamson, there is no life after...
Why, Radar?
Oh, well, sometimes I can tell what's going to happen before it happens.
MASH became a TV legend, but behind the laughter and tears was a revolving door of cast members making heartbreaking and sometimes controversial choices. McLean Stevenson was the first to leave. What followed was a series of surprising exits that changed the show's trajectory forever. Each story is more intriguing than the last. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Number 1, McLean Stevenson.
My fault.
You out there? This is Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake.
What time is it now? 1300 hours? Well, now that's afternoon, isn't it, sir? That's a decision I'll decide when I decide and make my decision, and that will decide.
Colonel Henry Blake was one of MASH's most beloved characters, a gentle leader with perfect comic timing. So, when McLean Stevenson left the show during its peak, fans couldn't understand why anyone would walk away from such a perfect role. But the truth was, Stevenson wasn't satisfied playing second fiddle, and he wasn't afraid to say so. Publicly, he expressed frustration about being overshadowed by Alan Alda's Hawkeye Pierce, even though his own character was a fan favorite. Stevenson wanted more lines, more prominence, and ultimately, more credit. Behind the scenes, Stevenson misjudged the power of the ensemble. He reportedly believed audiences loved Henry Blake so much that his popularity could carry him into solo success. But MASH wasn't built on individual stardom. It thrived on the chemistry of its cast, with Hawkeye naturally taking center stage in many episodes. Still, Stevenson viewed this as proof that his own prospects were being held back, and he was convinced leaving the show was the right move. When he did, the writers made an unthinkable decision for network television at the time. They killed off Henry Blake in the now iconic Abyssinia Henry episode, a bold and brutal choice that left audiences stunned. Years later, Stevenson admitted his ego had clouded his judgment, and he deeply regretted leaving MASH. At the same time, his departure pushed the show to take risks, showing viewers that it wasn't afraid to evolve. Stevenson may have struggled with life post-MASH, but his exit ultimately shaped the show's lasting legacy. Number 2, Wayne Rogers. Wayne Rogers brought warmth and charm to trapper John McIntyre, making him one half of MASH's beloved duo. Hawkeye and Trapper's quick banter and camaraderie felt effortless on screen, but behind the scenes, Rogers was deeply dissatisfied. When he joined the show, he had signed on with the understanding that Trapper would stand as Hawkeye's equal, a co-lead in every sense of the word. Instead, he watched his character get sidelined as Hawkeye became increasingly central to the series. Rogers tried to address the issue. He pushed the writers to expand Trapper's depth, arguing that the comedic role could and should have more dimension. He wanted Trapper to feel like a fully realized person, not just a one-liner machine or a sidekick hovering next to Hawkeye. Time after time, Rogers' concerns were brushed off, and as his frustration grew, so did the gaps in his contract. Legally, Rogers had signed a deal that lacked the penalty standard for breaking TV contracts, giving him a rare upper hand to walk away on his own terms. And walk away he did. Rogers didn't receive a flashy farewell. Trapper was written out off-screen with hardly any closure, a choice that upset both the actor and fans alike. The abruptness of his exit marked one of the biggest controversies in MASH history, but it also opened the door for a quieter, more introspective character, B.J. Honeycutt. Rogers may have left frustrated, but his stand for creative integrity reshaped the show forever. Number 3, Gary Berghoff.
Peculiar metabolism. If I don't eat regularly, everything solid in my body turns to liquid. Here's a mover and a groover, and it ain't by Herbert Hoover. It's for all you animal and music lovers.
the Cincinnati Dancing Pig.
Corporal Walter Radar O'Reilly wasn't just another character on MASH. He was its heart. Sweet, quirky, and endlessly reliable, Radar's innocence balanced the chaos of the 4077. So when Gary Berghoff decided it was time to leave, it felt like the show's soul was suddenly missing. Fans were stunned, but the reasons behind his departure pointed to a man wrestling with far more than just a demanding job. For Berghoff, playing Radar came with its own pressures. Known for his attention to detail, he was meticulous about every line, every reaction, down to the smallest gesture. That perfectionism made Radar unforgettable, yet it also left Berghoff emotionally drained. On top of that, the grueling pace of a hit TV show compounded his stress. His anxiety began to get the better of him, and as his unhappiness grew, it became harder to hide. Co-stars had noticed the change in him. Gary no longer seemed to have the same spark that made Radar so special. For Berghoff, it was clear he needed a break, not just for himself, but to spend more time with his family. His final episodes became some of the most emotional moments in MASH history. The farewell storyline in Goodbye Radar left viewers in tears as Radar's innocence gave way to bittersweet maturity. It was a respectful send-off, one the writers honored by never trying to replace him. Berghoff's exit marked the end of an era while preserving Radar's unique place in the show's legacy. Number 4, Larry Linville. Major Frank Burns was the character audiences loved to hate. As MASH's resident antagonist, he brought chaos, absurdity, and plenty of eye rolls to the 4077. But after 5 seasons of playing the bumbling, vindictive Frank, Larry Linville felt the character had nowhere left to go. The show was evolving, shifting into more nuanced, layered storytelling, and Frank's over-the-top nature was starting to feel out of place. Linville recognized the shift and made the difficult decision to leave. It wasn't about backstage drama or contract disputes. For him, it was about creative integrity. Frank Burns was deliberately written as a caricature, someone whose lack of self-awareness provided both humor and conflict. But over time, Linville began to see the limitations of that one-dimensional portrayal. He believed Frank had run his course and worried continuing to play him would feel repetitive, even forced. Audiences agreed. Many noted Frank's cartoonish behavior felt increasingly out of sync with the show's deeper exploration of the human condition in war. Quietly, Linville chose to step away before the character's flaws turned into a liability for MASH. His departure allowed the series to take an important step forward. In place of Frank, the show introduced Major Charles Emerson Winchester III, a layered and complex addition to the ensemble. With his cultured wit and sharper moral conflicts, Winchester brought a fresh, more intellectual dynamic to the 4077th. Linville's choice demonstrated that even a pivotal loss could lead to reinvention. Number 5, David Ogden Stiers.
Will not, even for a return to that Pearl of the Orient, Tokyo, lie to protect you while destroying a friend's
Charles, you didn't have anything to do with this, did you?
Me? Not a chance. Wouldn't waste my time. Unless, of course, I could get a good laugh out of it. Chronic cellmates. You can torture me with your thrice daily swill, but you cannot break the spirit of a Winchester.
Major Charles Emerson Winchester III wasn't supposed to become a fan favorite, but David Ogden Stiers brought something exceptional to MASH. When he joined in season 6, Winchester replaced Frank Burns as the show's foil to Hawkeye and BJ, but the dynamic shifted immediately. Stiers didn't play Charles as just another villain. He gave him depth, portraying refinement, arrogance, and surprising humanity all at once. Audiences initially rolled their eyes at his pompous attitude, but as layers of Winchester's personality unfolded, he became one of the most complex characters in the series. His final story in the series finale was unforgettable. Tasked with supervising a group of Chinese POWs, Winchester initially maintained his trademark superiority. However, when he discovered their shared love of classical music, he found a rare connection. The scene of him teaching them to play Mozart became a quiet, profound moment that spoke to his transformation. But this brief moment of connection turned tragic when he later learned all the POWs had died. It shattered Charles, showcasing how deeply the war had left its mark, even on someone as guarded as him. Stiers' decision to leave wasn't motivated by conflict. Winchester's story had simply reached its end. He felt the character had said what he needed to say, allowing him to bow out gracefully. His poetic departure resonated with fans, cementing Winchester's legacy in the series. It wasn't just an ending, it was a perfect goodbye, crafted with the power and care that MASH was known for. The departures of these actors may have seemed like disasters at the time, but they became turning points for MASH. Each exit gave the show an opportunity to reinvent itself, keeping the storytelling fresh and the audience engaged. While losing fan favorites like Radar or Henry Blake wasn't easy, it's hard to imagine the series lasting 11 seasons without those changes driving its evolution. If nothing else, these moments prove that growth comes from adaptation. So which departure hit you the hardest? Let us know in the comments. After all, MASH wasn't just about war, it was about resilience, both on screen and behind the scenes.